Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we have a super cool issue for a lot of different reasons. Hilariously, the X-Men ask, what if Phoenix had not died? Clearly, this is an old comic book. Cannot wait to share it with you. This totally dope Frank Miller cover. And we have interiors by the amazing Jerry Bingham, who did a lot of work for DC. And I feel like his Marvel work was kind of limited, so I feel like this is a special issue for that reason. Plus, it's written by comic legend, editor, ex-editor, and prolific writer Jo Duffy. So it is going to be lit. All right, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And if you haven't, what is wrong with you? Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Okay, so this Frank Miller cover is really cool. I love Frank Miller's art. It's funny to see the evolution of Frank Miller. You know, I've been a fan of his for so long, and I feel like a lot of his older stuff is fresh to me. Like, this is the first time I've owned this recently. By the way, this episode is dedicated to Philip. I know you've been trying to get me to do this issue for a long time, so I'm finally here. I apologize for the delay. I'll try to make it worth your wait. Anyway, this cover is so cool. I love how they left the box open here and had like that be the full bleed of the cover. Like, it just feels so cool. And this color hold was like is about as fancy as you get with the special effects back in the day before Photoshop. I do love how he has like the X-Men so bright from the Phoenix Flame that there's no like shadows on them, like on Storm's costume looks white. I think that looks so cool. I love this cover. I think it looks great. And this is a sloppy, splatty, messy version of Kirby Crackle, but I'm just glad it's there. This Phoenix logo is so good too. I wonder who designed that. What if Phoenix had not died? Mary Jo Duffy, writer, Jerry Bingham, penciler, John Stewart, inker, Carol Gafford, colorist, Artie Simic, and Janice Chiang. I wonder if I pronounced that right. Chang. Anyway, that's so weird. I always said it was Chiang. Anyway, Tom DeFalco and Mark Grunwald, editors, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Okay, Jerry Bingham. Like, what do we know him from? Like, Batman. I think I saw him on Batman and the Outsiders. He has a really beautiful line and illustrative style, and I think it's good. It's funny because this is like 1981, so this is like right after Phoenix had died and What If, so it was kind of like, you know, like very relevant and very like kind of, I'm guessing it might have been like a little controversial at the time, which is hilarious now because nobody has died and returned more times than Jean Grey Phoenix. It's like, you know, the running house joke. So this is like hard-hitting stuff here. Like possibly the first time mention of bringing Jean back, right? I love these Neil Adams costumes. I love that. I love like the language, the storytelling. Like I'm in love already, Jerry Bingham. I love your pencils, but I just love that Cyclops and Marvel Girl looking into each other's eye, or Marvel Girl is looking into Cyclops' eye, rather. She's got her hand on his hips, a little scandalous. He's got his hand on her shoulders, more gentlemanly. Anyway, they're retelling the story as any good what if story would do. You know, the Watcher is always narrating it. And we even got John Byrne in here because these are the head boxes from his run during the time of whatever happened to Baby Phoenix. But, you know, a lot of times the creative teams would do the stories. But it's interesting that Mary Jo Duffy is the writer here because she's a big X-writer. She's was an X-Men editor. So I'm guessing that she was pretty qualified to do this because she knew the whys and wherefores of what's going on. This is very grand design in a way because it kind of retells like the events of what happens. It's like you gotta make it before you break it. So telling what really happens and then throwing the what if twist. And this is such a great homage to Byrne's elegy page in 138 of the X-Men where we have Phoenix's funeral. How it should have ended, how it did end, and then flip the page and we're gonna bring her back somehow. The Imperial Guard, such great designs. I think Dave Cockrum designed the Imperial Guard. He surely must have. I mean, they scream like his costume designs for sure. I I'm a fan of the Marvel Girl costume. It's interesting that she's in this one again. These are like the Neil Adams design ones, I think. What are Lilandris peoples called? Peoples. I forget. I mean, I know they're bird-like, but I forget the race. Oh, that's an interesting angle for Wolverine's arm. I love that. What a great, like, if his arm were in any other position, then completely extended, doing what? Is he pointing? Is he, like, is pointing his claws at somebody? I don't know. I love the interesting angles. You can tell that this is somebody who, like, is a professional. I love, like, the negative space over here left for, like, the dialogue between Jean and Scott. Like, that's so cool. This Avengers Quinjet is looking cool. Maybe I'm just uneducated. I'm just gonna let that sit there for a second. Okay, maybe I'm just uneducated when it comes to Jerry Bingham's, like, role at Marvel. I just feel he was definitely more of a DC person, but I love his art. It is so beautiful. And I believe, Philip, you did send me the digital upgrade to this book already. And it does look fantastic. I mean, that is the one thing that I feel like the nostalgia of looking at these. Like, at the time, it was kind of all I had. You know what I mean? Like, reading artists' laments about the bad printing and how it affected their art so much. And then seeing, like, the lesser printing now, it makes you realize how true that was. But, you know, the art still does look good, of course. Galactus. Oh my god, this is so cool for so many reasons. I don't know, Jerry Bingham is just so good. I love his shading and his, like, lines. And I did want to say, like, it is also very cool that Mary Jo Duffy is writing this. You know, I just watched an interview with Marie Severin, and it's funny, the role of women in comic books. You know, this is a period of comics when famously women weren't very prevalent in comic books. I know it's changed a lot, and that's definitely a good thing. So, but I often think about, you know, it's like poor, like, Mary Jo Duffy and Louise Simonson and Marie Severin, you know, it's like they've been here all along, and it's like to hear that there's no women in comics. There always have been women in comics, and they were, I mean, standouts and mighty, you know, for sure. I mean, if you don't believe me, go look at some Marie Severin art and prepare to be blown away. This is cool. I love this. But, you know, arguably, there weren't a lot of women in comics, especially writers, it seems. You know, a lot of the women who became such great writers, I feel, started out. Apparently, you have to, like, absorb some of Chris Claremont's essence. Like, you have to, you have to be his editor for a little bit, because, damn, if it didn't work for Mary Jo, Louise Simonson, and Ann Nocenti, because they're all amazing writers and editors. You know, it makes sense that you would be a better editor if you were a good writer, doesn't it? Because a lot of editors don't know how to write, but they sure think they know how to edit. I know you know. I know you know what I'm talking about, everybody. I know you know. Anyway, I love montage pages like that. That is cool. We get a group shot. This is so good. I love this. What a treat to be able to have some... Look at the facial expressions. See, I don't know. You know, I look for things like that, and it's so true. You know, you have a... That's the beauty. I think that's the magic of so many great, you know, comic book artists. And that's what we're losing today by tracing and copying and using, you know, artificial means to create our art. I just think the spontaneity and the humanness is lost a little. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some great digital art. I do a lot of stuff digitally, and I'm not trying to knock it. There's room for both. But I just don't ever want to see, like, pure art completely lost. You know what I mean? I don't think it ever will be. As long as people have hands and there's something to pick up you can draw with, God knows. I mean, if it were the apocalypse or something, I would just be picking up trash and, like, whatever, like, could produce pigment and just smearing it everywhere to make art. That should be a movement. And it sounds like one too. Maybe a bowel movement. I don't know. Anyway, Lots of great Phoenix stuff in there. That is so cool. I love that. Like, you can see Dark Phoenix shining through the X-Men mansion. So iconic. Kitty looking all cute and adorable. I love Kitty. Who didn't love Kitty Pryde? Like, I mean, it's so weird because, you know, they add that so that younger readers can have somebody to identify with. And it works. You know what I mean? I always loved Kitty. She was always one of my favorites. But I love the X-Men in general. And these are the real X-Men people. These are the ones that laid the bricks for all the other X-Men that would follow. The Neil Adams X costumes are just so cool. I don't know who designed this one. Do you guys know who designed it? Feel free to put in the comments. I want to give credit to John Byrne, but I don't think so. Like, is this his costume that he used for Champions? Perhaps. If anyone knows, I want to know. It's a good costume design. Wolverine looking cool. Just love the art of Jerry Bingham, right? I mean, Phoenix can die and come alive and do whatever the hell she wants. Another brilliant, genius design. Great character design there. Havoc. Like, why would you ever change that? One of the coolest power signatures. And what, oh, did it end just like that? What happened? Did she die again? Yeah, they're like, no, sorry. She lived, but can't happen. I think that's always, well, not always, but, you know, I feel like what if always was like a fable, you know, like the moral of the story. Even though, isn't the Watcher just a perv who's sitting around watching? Like, he isn't supposed to interact or really anything, but I guess he can comment. Anyway, that ended well. A subscription for a year's worth of Marvel Comics for $9. I'll take it. Okay, this backup story, Mark Grunwald words, Ron Wilson and Bruce Patterson pictures, I'm guessing. It's so interesting that they don't put first names sometimes, but luckily I'm so prolific that I pretty much know who it's going to be. I'm so prolific. I'm not prolific. I'm just learned. Bruce Patterson's inks are so good. That looks great. Spider-Man hostess ad. Perfection. If you didn't know what era this comic book was in, I think the hostess ad would give it away. What a great panel here. What a kickin' backup story. This art is like killer. This is so good. This is like a good like Wally Wood kind of story. I know a lot of people may have just clenched their buttholes, but I don't know. I haven't read a lot of Wally Wood, but this works for me on so many levels. What a fun issue. What if Phoenix had not died? Dun, dun, dun. So dramatic. Anyway, what a great issue. Jerry Bingham, Mary Jo Duffy, X-Men, Phoenix had not died. What if? Such a cool book. Love this Frank Miller cover. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel, hit like, share my content, and I'll bring you more later.